jumping without a parachute. That one time in life when you just take a leap of faith and say, risk it all. I got to do this because I need a new situation in my life. I did that, and the anniversary of it is coming up in just a couple weeks. August 1st is a really important day for my family. It's not a birthday. It's not an anniversary. I want to tell you why.
How you jumped without a parachute. I've been skydiving. Have you ever been skydiving?
No.
I have jumped out of a legit airplane that was fine. Nothing wrong with the plane. And I decided to jump out of it for the adventure.
Purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a parachute. There was no way I was going to jump out of that plane without a parachute. I actually had a guy attached to my back, too.
We're not advocating that.
Right,
it's a saying in life. Taking a leap of faith. Saying, I'm going to do this, not knowing if it's going to turn out okay.
Right.
Trusting God to provide.
Some people would say just jumping out of a plane, even if you have a parachute, is a big risk.
Yes.
I remember, though, for me in my life, when I theoretically jumped out of a plane without a parachute. At least in my mind, I felt like I was doing that.
Okay.
It was a number of years ago, 8 years ago, a little over 8 years ago, and I went into the kitchen, and in this little plate was a little card.
Okay.
And a little, like, thermometer. It looked like a thermometer.
Okay.
I come to find out it's not a thermometer. It was a pregnancy test.
Oh,
and on the card it said, "Can't wait to meet you, Daddy." And it took me like about a minute to figure that out. I don't understand what's going on here. I wasn't that bright, and I couldn't put two and two together. I couldn't make the connection. Okay, this thermometer and this card. Oh, we're pregnant. And then, oh my gosh, I was just like, here it goes.
Did you panic? You weren't like,
babe.
I
wasn't panicking, but I was like, oh my gosh, my life is about to be turned upside down. Everything is going to change.
And so you felt
I knew
that was a leap of faith having kids because you weren't sure if you were ready.
I wasn't sure, like, hello, I think, don't you agree? A leap of faith having kids.
I think it's more for a dad because, like, a woman, like, we have time. We're designed to do this. We thought this through. We picked the names when we were 5 years old. But you're right. For a dad, it's like saying, okay, I'm going to do this.
For me, it was like, am I going to be able to take care of my family? Am I going to be up for that? Because this is a big thing. So I put everything down. I walked over to my wife. I said, let's pray. That was the first thing we did.
That was good.
I was like, let's pray because I am freaked.
I remember my ex-husband, when we found out our first was a girl, he freaked out and panicked because he thought girls were more expensive, and then just decided, he goes, okay, I'm going to go down. I'm just going to eat 2 meals a day. And I figured we could save that amount of money.
Was he serious?
He was absolutely serious.
Oh my gosh. He was going to, well, that is great sacrifice for your daughter.
Right.
That you're willing to cut out a meal per day.
Just to pay for her college and her wedding.
Right.
So I would love to know from you about when is a leap of faith that you have taken that turned out okay. Because the more you share these stories, I feel that bravery is contagious. Right. So
how would you define that? How would you define jumping out of a plane without a parachute? Define that for someone.
Define it. It is taking a step of faith, making a decision to change something drastically in your life because you need it, trusting God that it's going to be okay.
So give some examples other than yours.
Alicia
said moving from her hometown to Sacramento.
Yes,
that's a pretty big deal.
Big one. Way to go.
You're used to your friends, your family, your structure. You know the channels.
Yep.
You know where the local store
how to
is.
Get to the
video
to Target.
store, whatever. Exactly. Yeah. You move to a new town. Everything's different. It's like you're in a foreign country sometimes.
I don't know if I'd be able to do that again, honestly. Let's see.
But you experienced that, right?
Dating after loss. Like saying, okay, I'm going to put up a dating profile.
Yeah.
I am going to go meet someone, or even going out on that first date, jumping without a parachute, taking a new job, or saying, you know what? I don't like this job. I want to do something else. A career change can be jumping without a parachute and saying, okay, God, I feel like you're saying that this is what you want me to do.
Right.
So it's also trusting that God will do what he says he will do. Like when he calls you to something, he equips you with everything you need to be able to do
That's a great point. Laurel said buying their first home. Especially here in Sacramento or in California, that is a huge leap of faith. Yes.
Done that one.
But I like what you said. Myrna said leaving behind an abusive church to love Jesus and his people better. And
Look
yes,
at you.
because that can be hard, if you're in any environment where you're used to it for a while, and it could be a relationship. I know a lot of people personally in my life who have been in those types of relationships, and to leave something that you're familiar with, to leave that security, is tough.
Well, that's a lot of my
it's
story.
the best decision, but you have to do it.
That's so much of my story is I was in an abusive marriage. And at that point, when I was going through the divorce, I decided, okay, I'm going to give myself a year to heal. And he left on August 1st. Suddenly, my kids were 4, 20 months, and 8 weeks old. And he just came home from a business trip and said, I'm leaving you on August 1st. I was like, oh, I didn't know it. And I wasn't in a great place. But it's okay to not be okay. It's just not okay to stay there. So I went and got some help. And with some help and direction of some friends, I took a calendar of August and I circled August 1st on the calendar.
This was the following August 1st?
Yeah. And I said, okay, I'm going to give myself a year to get it together. I was still nursing a newborn baby.
Oh my gosh. And you got a 2-year-old.
Yeah, and a 4-year-old. And so I said, okay, well, I'm going to handle the first year of her life. And I'm going to get through this. And then on August 1st, I'm going to have a decision of what I'm doing for the rest of my life and reinvent my life. And I kept praying, okay, God, I believe. And I like to pray prayers of like positive belief. So I'll say, God, I believe and declare you will provide a way for me to provide for my children by August 1st.
Right.
And we still celebrate that day. So I started praying, and I knew I needed to move and then look for jobs. So I was calling different people and interviewing and trying to find a job because I needed to relocate. I couldn't afford to pay for this big expensive house on my own with just a part-time job and 3 kids. So I accepted a position here in California. And I was like, sweet, I am ready to go. I had previously gotten one of those pods in my driveway that I had been filling up, fully believing that God would provide a place for me to move that pod by August 1st. And the pod people, when you order one, they say, okay, well, where do you want it to go and when do you want us to pick it up?
And you had no idea.
I didn't know.
Wow.
So that was my leap.
How long was
faith.
it in your driveway?
About a month.
Wow, okay.
It was a leap of faith. I'm like, this is going to come.
And you were just filling it up, believing.
Yeah, selling stuff and then choosing the stuff that I could keep. And just believing. I believe and declare, God, you're going to provide for us by August 1st. So I accept
That's cool.
It was exciting. I accept this position, and it's a dream job, and I'm moving from DC to California. And the woman that does the relocation called, and she said, hey, we want to book your flight because we don't want you to drive from Washington, D.C. to Sacramento, California by yourself with 3 little kids in your minivan. I'm like, you know what? That's really nice. It's a good idea. So she said, we're looking at flights. How does August 1st work for you?
Isn't that cool?
And
then what was your reaction? Oh, really?
Just
Why are you crying on the phone? Is that not a good date? Like, we can change it. We can book another date.
I think I fell on my knees. I fell on my knees worshiping God because I was so upset at him for what had happened. And then it was kind of like, prove to me, God, prove to me that you still love me and that you're real. And he did. He loved me that much to do that. And
That's
to my 3 children. And sorry, I didn't expect that to come out. And it was the best thing I ever did. Is start our life over here in Sacramento. It's why I love Sacramento so much, because this was my fresh new start of me and my children, just us as a family, and making this our place. And Sacramento has been so welcoming to us, and I love it so much. That's why it's such a big deal. And now we always celebrate August 1st as our family anniversary.
That's cool. That's coming up.
Instead of it being a bad day, it is coming up. Instead of being a bad day, turn it around for good. So I am thoroughly convinced that in your life, when you are in a tough time and things are mundane and you're not liking what's going on, that's when I feel like God is saying, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Maybe it's time for you to trust me.
Yes.
maybe it's time for you to get out of that abusive relationship and take that leap of faith or whatever it is that's not working in your life to say, no, I know God has something better for me. I'm going to just set it out there. I'm going to call the pod, or I'm going to look for that job, or I'm going to fill out that application to go back to school. Just that one thing. They say it causes, if you truly want to change in your life, it really just is one drastic action.
Right.
And then everything else will fall in line.
Right.
Instead of just waiting, it's one massive action.
It's true. Yeah, it's depending on God. I remember my pastor would preach that message a lot, and he would use the scene from Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade.
Okay.
So Indiana Jones, his dad is shot, and he's got to go find the Holy Grail that will heal his dad. And so he has to go through all these different obstacles. And one of the obstacles is there's a canyon between him and the next place, and there's no bridge. There's no bridge for the canyon. He's like, well, how am I going to do it? And the advice, or the secret saying, is saying you have to take a leap of faith. You have to take a leap of faith. So he doesn't see any bridge. There's just this canyon. If he falls in this canyon, he dies. So Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford, go watch the movie. You'll like the scene. It's super relevant. He sticks out his foot to just take a leap of faith, and he closes his eyes when he does it. He doesn't even look. He closes his eyes and just puts his foot out to just fall to his death, maybe. But instead, boom, his foot lands on something solid.
Right, something comes out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And well, what happens is the camera pans, and it shows that the bridge has been there the entire time. You just haven't seen it because it's been camouflaged.
See?
Isn't that incredible?
That's what God does. He's like, no, I have a way.
Yes.
All I need for you to do is trust me and believe and just make the change.
Right.
Just make the change that you know you need to make in life. And I'll be there. I'll provide the way.
Right. It's like when I'm swimming with my kids or whatever, and I say, jump. You have to trust me. I'm going to catch you.
No,
I'm going to catch you. They don't.
Stage.
Yeah. And after a while, they know. And they get confident, and then they start doing tricks and flips, and they know, oh, Dad will catch me. Then they start to get a little crazy, and I have to calm them down, like, hold on a second. But that's like our way with God. In order for us to learn that he is there and that he's always going to take care of us, we have to take those risks. We have to. We have to take those leaps of faith. And then we'll learn that, oh, I know that God is going to catch me because he did it before. And he's going to do it. He's going to do it again. And then you become more confident. Yeah. And that's how people who have extreme faith, extreme confidence, who are able to get through so much, it's because they continually take those leaps of faith, and they've learned that God gets me through it. He always catches me. I always end up fine. And so I have that confidence to continue going on. And then they continue to do greater and greater and greater things. And they take bigger risks. Yeah. And they take bigger leaps of faith. They start out small, and then they just start to bigger, bigger, bigger. And before you know it, they are just like, they're in places that you never would have imagined because they keep going and up higher mountains. And it's cool.
That's why I
want to do that more, you know?
Yeah, we all should. That's why I started Get Your Brave On, to inspire people to do more of those things of jumping without a parachute. Taking that leap of faith in life is evidence. You create evidence of God in your life. And then when you tell that story, you are proof to other people that God is real and can answer their prayers. And then it's just mounting evidence that God is real. You can trust him. He wants the best for you. He will provide for you. And it builds and builds and builds, getting your brave on every single day. And then before you know it, bravery is a new habit, and you've conquered fear. Because instead of being afraid and doing nothing, and that's all you know, and that's your habit, you change it up, and every day you're like, well, what brave thing can I do now? God help me through that. Yeah, it's true. And for me, it makes me want to fall more in love with God, especially when I hear your story. When I hear your story, Amanda, about how God orchestrated all that and just gave you a clear sign. Yeah. And it just shows that God cared about you. He never forgot about you. He always knew every detail of your life. And I'm getting emotional. And he knew about it. He knew about it, and he wanted to give you that sign that, hey, I am here. I've never left you.
and I'm with you. And it
because I felt so thrown away.
Right. We all feel that way sometimes. Yeah. We all feel that sometimes. Like, where is God? Where is he? I'm just alone and I don't feel him and I don't hear him. And so when he comes in a big way like that and just shows, I'm here, just trust me, I'm here.
Yeah. Like, give him an opportunity to do that for you.
Yeah.
That's what leaping without a parachute is.
Right.
Giving him an opportunity to show you how much he loves you and cares for you.
Yep.
That was a good one today. It's a Friday? Can I do like can we just be done?
It's Wednesday, so if you have Bible study tonight, we've just left you off the hook. You do not have to go to church on Sunday. We've given you your sermon. Hopefully you all took notes.
Oh, thank you so much, our fish family. We love you. And I can't wait to hear all of your stories about jumping without a parachute. And thank you for sharing them, because bravery is contagious. And when you share your story, it helps somebody else think, well, you know what? If they did that, maybe I can do that thing too.
Right.
So thank you. Have a fantastic